Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of AKP Sports Talk. As always, I'm Ari here with Korea, back for another day on this November 12th, Tuesday, the first day of the in-season tournament for the NBA, so that should be fun. We'll get into a recap of yesterday. A tough loss for you to end the night last night, but a good win with McNeese. A hook on the L just by 1 point, which is kind of crazy how close those lines sometimes end up. And I was keeping track of it, and it seemed like the line total was going way over for a good part of the second half. In the last few minutes, it seemed like the scoring slowed down. What were your takeaways from your two plays yesterday?
I should have gone 2-0, but one-on-one day, McNeese was definitely a great winner there. It looked a little scary, in the early second half. Alabama was I think up by about 18 or about 19, and then McNeese, they went on that 14, I think one run over like I think 14-3 run over like a 7 minute span, really slowing down the game, and that's pretty much what I was hoping for McNeese to do, throughout that most of the game, but obviously doing it more in the second half, just kind of slowing down the game, slowing down Alabama, getting some good shots up on the offensive side and playing some good defense, not having Alabama, just go out in the fast break, and that's how they usually get their offense going. And obviously McNeese made that a single-digit ball game, so that was obviously a great winner there. And then the Pacific Hawaii over, that should have gone over. I'm not, that's probably the worst beat of the year. I honestly have to say, with how it ended, Ari, got to be the worst beat of the year. I mean, it was at 142. It was a dunk and one. Missed the free throw. Game over. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. But I mean, I'm not going to beat myself. It's not. It wasn't a bad read. It was the right read. Obviously, Pacific. I think they went 2 of 13 from three. They shot like 37%. Couldn't get anything done. It was just horrible, horrible. I mean, there were many opportunities for them to get some shots up. So just bad read, but not even bad read, bad beat. One-on-one day, I'll take it. Even though it should have been 2-0, but that just means an opportunity for an opportunity today to be 2-0 after yesterday's tragedy. So 1-1 from yesterday, obviously. Ari, how did the Nets do yesterday?
It was a lot more sweaty than I'd hoped for, but they came out on top. They were winning for most of the first quarter, or the entire first quarter, pretty much, and then the second, third quarter was rough for them. They were down, I think, 4 going into the fourth quarter. Back and forth in the fourth quarter, and fortunately, Cam Thomas hit a big three with like 3 seconds left to put them up by 1. They got a stop, fouled Cam Thomas. He missed the first, made the second. They got another stop, and they won by 2, fortunately. So um, definitely wasn't the way I expected it to be go. But and I think they're a 1.5 point favorite, so they barely just covered that as well. Or at least that's where they ended up at. It was minus 1.5. But now the Pelicans dropped today that they're going to be with that Jose Alvarado for the next 6 weeks, who is one of their top scorers with all the players hurt. So now they lost another key rotational piece. So could be a tough stretch for the Pelicans again coming up. But yeah, 1-0 day for me, fortunately, with Nuts prevailing and a close game in the end.
Yeah, obviously a close game. Obviously, nice to see the Nets just get up the win there. Obviously, we were looking at. I know you. I think you mentioned the spread at obviously a -1, so obviously a 2 point game would have hit for you there as well. But obviously, you just wanted to be safer, just take the team to win. Obviously, that was the right move, even though it was a lot sweatier than you would envisioned. Obviously, I saw the Nets were I think down for a little bit in the third quarter, pretty close game. But obviously, Nets got the win on the road there, and obviously you mentioned Alvarado down for this Pelicans team, so just another just tough injury for this Pelicans team as they lose a close one at home. But obviously, that's a great winner for you. 1-0 day for you. 1-1 day for me. Obviously, moving on today, Tuesday, November 12th. Here, I got two picks for you. As so far, I haven't really touched the full board yet, but these are the things that I like so far that I've seen. First, I'm going to go to the Missouri Valley Conference here. We're taking Bradley -12 here, -110. This is a good bounce back spot for this team. I did watch their last game, obviously, against Washington State, and look, it was a bad game for them. They had 5 guys foul out, 3 of their 5 starters fouled out, including their top scorer. They lost by 17, and just in some of those games, you expect it to be a lot closer, but when guys get in foul trouble, that completely changes the game. So, and obviously that pretty much completely changed the game. If you were watching that game, it was pretty close between Bradley and Washington State on the road. But then, as soon as those guys started getting in foul trouble, it was pretty much game over for this Bradley team. But I like him back at home against UTSA. UTSA, they only played one team, and it was some D3 nobody, and they absolutely beat them down. But obviously that's credit to them. But now they have to play a hungry Bradley team off of a tough loss. Obviously, like I said, 3 of their 5 starters were fouled out in that game. And I'm not obviously, don't expect 3 of your 5 starters to foul at every game. So I do like them in a bounce back spot at home. Obviously, their offense, pretty consistent, can shoot the ball really well. They gave Wazoo a lot of trouble, in that early first half. But, I do think they come back home, get a good win against UTSA. Like I said, they had that one game and they beat some nobody D3 school. They put up 103 points, but at the same time, all these schools are putting up 100 points against. I saw McNeese put up 115 against the College of Biblical Studies. So I'm not going to take too much of that game into into my analysis of UTSA, but I do like Bradley at home in a bounce back. Obviously, just coming back home after a tough loss on the road against Wazoo, as I said. Like I said, they lost 3 of their 5 guys due to foul trouble, including their top scorer. I expect all 3 obviously to not really get in foul trouble tonight, obviously, knowing that from last game, and just have a bounce back win at home. And I think this is the game where I think they can win by 20 or 30 with the way, UTSA, obviously they got all their shots up in the first game, but, I think this is a great bounce back spot for Bradley. So I'm taking the -12 here, -110. And then we're going to pretty much one of the games of the night here, Duke and Kentucky here. And look, I just love taking points between 2 good offensive teams there. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. But we're not going to have that shenanigans like Hawaiian Pacific from yesterday. We're not doing the half. We're just going to take it down to 160 because we saw what happened yesterday. If I would have taken it at the total at 142, I would have got my money back yesterday. But obviously, I wanted to be a little more bolder. So unfortunately, that didn't have happened. So today, we're just making sure both teams hopefully score 80 here. The way the line's looking, obviously, I do lean Duke, but obviously I just like points here. I think Kentucky can make this game interesting. Obviously, they have one of the better offenses with Mark Pope here, obviously coming from BYU. We know he brought almost all of those guys, some of those key guys to Kentucky here. And obviously, this is both teams' first game against true opponents here, so it is a little scary to take it over. But the way these 2 teams been scoring, I think it's the right call. You look at Kentucky, right? They are one of the best teams in terms of passing the ball. They have a great assist rate. They really can shoot the ball well. And the thing about them is that they can rebound too. Like they like to dominate, and it's dominating because of the rebounding game and just running their offense. They may have a little trouble against Duke here, but I think, I just more backing both offenses to score. Obviously, we look at Duke and everybody knows about Cooper Flagg and how talented he is, but obviously Duke is one of the more talented and deep rosters in all of basketball. I think I'm pronouncing it. I think is it Kneipel? Is it Kneipel? I think it's Kneipel. This dude can shoot the ball, okay? He might be the new Reed Sheppard from last year because this dude can shoot the ball. He's averaging 22 a game. Obviously, it's 2 games, so you can't really take too much into account. But I saw some of the highlights of him, whether it's in, just in the secret scrimmages or whatnot. Dude can ball. Dude can ball. So I'm just expecting, both offenses to show up. All we need is 80 from both. I know it's high, and you see that total at 160 for a reason. I don't like taking high totals unless you have 2 good offensive teams like this, and I think it's going to be a good shootout. We always see, I think the last time we saw this, I think it was Paolo Banchero against Kentucky last time back in 2022 in the Champions Classic. So obviously I know Kentucky has a little more animosity coming about that game because I think Duke got the win there. So I do like this over here at 160. I know it's a little high, but I think it's going to be a lot of points. You like I said, Kentucky, very deep rotation. They have Kobe Brea, one of the star players. Obviously, offensively, defensively, he's a little bit of a problem sometimes. I've seen some clips of him, not being the most consistent defender. And sometimes, when you have good offensive teams that play a little bit of shaky defense, obviously kind of, alludes to an over there. So I'm just taking points here. If I was to lean aside, I do like Duke on the points, but I'm just not really taking a side. I just like points here. Obviously, like I said, Kentucky, very good assist rate. They like to pass the ball, get some threes up. That's kind of the Mark Pope way. And then obviously with Duke and, how deep their rotation is, I think John Shire can make that game fun for his team. So I'm just taking it over there. So those are my 2 plays for now. I'll probably have a third one or potentially more as I get into the slate maybe, but these are the 2 I like so far. I'm taking Bradley minus a 12 here in a bounce back spot against UTSA at home. And then obviously the game of the night here, Duke, Kentucky. I'm just liking points. So we're taking the over there minus 160, over 160, minus 125. Hopefully both teams score 80, so we don't have to really worry about, one team or the other team. But I just like points from both teams. Like I said, Duke, one of the deepest roster, I'd argue, in all of college basketball, just how much rotational stuff they have. And then Kentucky with how many scores they have as well on the offense side of the ball. So those are my 2 plays today. For now, as I said, there may be more as I get through the slate of college basketball today. So those are the 2 I like so far, just scavenging through the college basketball slate today. Ari, we got plenty of sports today. Obviously, like I said, NBA, college basketball. What do you like on the slate today?
Yeah, just one play for me for right now. One play I was looking at in college basketball that I was close to putting on was Villanova minus 3. Taking on St. Joseph is coming off a loss to Central Connecticut as a 16-point favorite. But Villanova also had an embarrassing loss as well, I think 2 games ago now for them. So I was thinking maybe of a moneyline parlay with the Nova and the Knicks here, potentially. But just for my official play for the Knicks minus 3. Again, like I said, the first game of the in-season tournament, the line's gone up. It was minus 1.5 for the Knicks last night, up to minus 3 for the Knicks now. Obviously for the Sixers, you have the season debut of Joel Embiid. He'll probably be limited to some degree, I would imagine. But even if he isn't, I think Cat can at least match him in his production. And then you should have either Bridges or Anunoby on Paul George. No Maxey. So it's just a matchup. I like the Knicks a lot here. I like them up better offensively. And then I think defensively they can match up well against where the Sixers, thrive at. So I like this spot here for the Knicks. Again, the line's going in their favor. And I think their star players can match the Sixers star players, and they have more to offer with, especially with Maxey out for Philly. So I like this spot here for the Knicks. And their Knicks are also coming off a really bad loss to the Pacers, I would say, on Sunday, where they kind of had the game locked up. It seemed like up 5 with 2 minutes left, and the Pacers went a 9-0 run in the last couple of minutes and wound up winning pretty easily in the end. So I also like it as a bounce back spot for the Knicks as well.
Yeah, I do kind of like that parlay idea. Ari, I know a lot of New York fans, especially New York Knicks fans, would love to have the Nova Nick parlay.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. I didn't even...
the Villanova Nick parlay.
That
will feed families in New York today, obviously, with the correlation of obviously all the Villanova players on the New York Knicks now. So that could be a little fun parlay for you. But going back to your Villanova play, I do lean Villanova as well. This line was a little funky, but I guess it's just a lot of people fading Villanova after their tough loss to Columbia. But we got to put respect on Columbia's name. They are a pretty good, decent program. They can shoot the ball. And Villanova, they can shoot the ball well as well. They are, I think they're 25th in the country in free throw percentage. So I love backing teams who can really shoot well at the line. Obviously in those clutch moments where you need your top guys to get some last second 3 throws as well to maybe potentially ice the game or whatnot. So I obviously don't love the Villanova play for you as well. But going back to the Knicks at home, obviously, you said this is the beginning of the NBA Cup season. Obviously, last year, the Lakers won the in-season tournament. Now this year, a whole new season. And obviously, starting off with the Knicks minus 3 at home, I do like that play. Like you said, the Sixers a complete mess right now, just injured. There was the whole Joel Embiid thing. I think I agree with Maxey in the matchup. I don't think the matchup really fits well. Is more of a line read for you, obviously, with the Knicks kind of steaming up from 1 to 3. Like you said, you were considering having that Villanova Knicks parlay. So I do like that as well for you, but just your one play today with the Knicks minus a 3 on the basketball court once again. So that's always one and only play as well with potentially Villanova parlay. We'll see how that goes later in the day. And then my 2 plays as well with Bradley minus a 12 and then Duke Kentucky over tonight over 160, minus 125, like as I said as well. I may have one more play as well, depending on how I look at the slate. Of course, we'll have all of these bets on our Twitter below, AKP Sports Talk. We'll have all of our cards and our video posted momentarily. And of course, any updates on any potential card changes Of course, just check out our Twitter down below, AKP Sports Talk. That's going to do it for this episode. Of course, that's Ari. I'm Curry. We'll be back tomorrow for another episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a good day.